Hello, everybody. Rick, the retired Texan. You know, I've always been a people watcher. People interest me. I don't shy away from being around people because I've always been really interested in what makes people tick, what makes people say and do the things they do. And I don't know, maybe I should have been a psychiatrist or something. I don't know, but for some reason, that's always been an interest of mine. And I was moving my cows from one pasture to another the other day, and they do like they always do. If I can get that bull's attention and get him to go through the gate and go over to the other pasture where I want him to go, if I can get him to do it, then the rest of them are just going to blindly follow him over there. It's going to happen every time. And it really doesn't matter where he's going, they're going to follow him. And, you know, people are kind of have that herd mentality too that we always have. But I've noticed over the last, 10, 15 years, whatever it is, that people are developing more of a herd mentality than we used to have. It wasn't all that long ago in my life when the people who were really revered and looked up to were those real independent thinkers, the people who didn't just blindly follow a crowd. They might follow a crowd and they might not, but they're going to think it through and they're going to do what's best, and they're not going to just follow because they want to be part of a club or part of a group, or they've been convinced that if they jump on board with this cause or join this group, that it's going to make them a better person and it's going to make them more virtuous, and they're going to care more for the downtrodden and all that. So people will blindly jump into some of these groups with those thoughts, and a lot of times it's not the case. But we're seeing more and more and more of that these days. It's a lot different than it was when I was young. These days, it seems like people are so anxious to be part of a movement, part of a group, part of a cause. They're so anxious to be part of something that they're willing to just jump on board even when it goes against their intuition, their logic, their moral compass. It's more important to be part of a group that you're supposed to be part of than it is to do the right thing. And it's very unfortunate because it's getting out of hand. And, everybody's got this tribal mentality these days. And believe me, it's not always been that way. It was not that way when I was younger. Those rugged independent thinkers were the ones that we were really admired. And that seems to be gone. Something else I notice about my cows, and this happens every time. If you've never been around cows, then you're not going to know this. But a baby calf, a young calf, when you're moving cows from one pasture to another through a big old gate, that baby calf is not going to walk through that gate. Not when it's real young. It's not going to do it. Even if mama walked through that gate, baby ain't following mama through that gate. Later on in life, that calf will, but in its early days, it's not walking through that gate. And what it'll do is it'll wait for the rest of the herd to get over in the other pasture, and then it will want to be over there for sure. But rather than walk through that gate the way the rest of them did, that calf will try to go through the fence. That fence could be electrified. That fence could have barbed wire all over it. And that calf would rather try to go through that fence than to walk through that 12-foot gate that's standing wide open. It happens every time. Then after that calf gets a little older, it'll go through the gate. But, I see that going on with humans these days. People, for some reason these days, want to take the hard road. And it seems to be more common than it used to be. It's like, sometimes when the intelligent thing to do is right in front of your face, you push back on it and you make your life harder than it needs to be. And believe me, the stuff I'm talking about is going on more now than it was 30, 40 years ago. I promise you it is. And it's really sad to see the human condition evolving this way. And I'm hoping it's going to turn I'm hoping these things are cyclical and, there's going to be a shift in the way humans handle certain things in life, and we go back to being more like we used to be. And I'm assuming that's going to happen at some point. But right now, it's really interesting to see how people do the dumb thing when the intelligent thing is staring them right in the face. And it's really interesting to see how so many of us will join a group even though that group goes against their logic, their common sense, and their moral compass. But they want to be part of that group or part of that cause so bad that they're willing to disregard those things and do it anyway, just to be part of a crowd. Sometimes I wonder, is it because they don't have something else in life to guide them? They're so anxious to be part of a group, or so anxious to find a purpose, that they're willing to do that. I don't really know, haven't figured it all out yet, but I do know that this is happening to a much larger degree than it used to. So I guess I'll just leave you with this. Before you get involved in something, before you start believing in something that somebody's trying to sell you, ask yourself, is this logical? Is this against your moral compass? Does your good old God-given common sense tell you that this is wrong? Ask yourself those questions before you just jump on board with some of this stuff. Just because some damn politician tells you that this is the way you need to feel about something, or some talking head on some stupid news show, or some friend, or whoever in your life that you're getting your guidance from. You need to be a little bit more You need to be more of a self-advocate, I would say, before you jump on board with some of this stuff that's going on around you. So, hey, I told you this channel is all about just things that I've observed over 6.5 decades. And now that I'm retired, I got more time to pontificate these things and share these thoughts with you. And I don't know, I'm betting if you're my age, you probably can, some of you are going to relate to this, to me feeling the way that I feel. Some of you are going to completely disagree with me, but I hope if you're quite a bit younger that you'll get something out of this and maybe change some of the ways that you go about your life. Take care.